This is Tom Doody, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Doody in a Google search for my site. The Grand Central Terminal. This is the Grand Central end of the shuttle. And it's late rush hour. I had planned to be in a better place. I had an appointment with my friend Andres and then a phone appointment with a friend in Arizona, Robert. And anyways, it was in this key place that people rush past at full speed, dropping cell phones, stripping, some other things, running for track 4. But I couldn't stay there because track 4 terminates late rush hour. And I don't know what time is, but I had this sense it was getting close. So now I'm in a lesser place. Track 1 and track 3. There is no track 2 in the S train. So listeners, viewers, if you were to look on your screen, over this way is track 1 and on this side is track 3. So you will be able to see people get on trains. This is Slow TV. And Slow TV is the inspiration of NRK of Norway. NRK had this idea that turned out to be a hit in Norway. And it's remarkable they did, because I think if NRK did not have this idea, the idea would never happen any place. And it's counterintuitive that people would be interested in what is, by popular definitions, boring. NRK puts TVs, puts television cameras on trains and boats, and just has a live broadcast over a very long period of time of no drama, no script, no anything, just watching the scenery go by. So my version of Slow TV takes their idea and brings it into the New York City subways. And I'm going to read some news from the New York Times. This is what I was going to do with Robert, credit card debt talk, Robert Floyd, Tom Doody. We had tech problems, didn't pull that off. Robert's Windows phone is not compatible with Google Hangouts. Google would like to claim its software is compatible with everything, and Windows would like to claim that Windows Phone can be used on everything. But you put Google and Hangouts together with Windows Phone and you get nada, nunca, yete. Slow TV. Now I was reading this text earlier and I got interrupted. It was a planned interruption. I actually started reading this with the hope that I'd sort of have something interesting happen, and that interesting thing was a visit from my amigo Andres, who found me without any trouble, without any delay. Finished his shift at Keen's Steakhouse, very near Herald Square, and I was subterranean Herald Square. Now I'm at the S train, Grand Central, and that group of people just got off the 3-track think this is where I see, although arrests were not messy, as the Swiss authorities on direction from the United States authorities raided Bar al-Laq Hotel in Zurich. Although the arrests were not messy, and I did a sidebar, I saw a very messy arrest on 42nd Street. I witnessed it. I was waiting for a bus, and it just developed, pulled in more and more police officers, made me more and more nervous. And fortunately, my M42 bus arrived before everything could happen. But again, there was a racial component to this. It was white police officers and a black man, relatively young black man, but though an adult, not a teenager. And the combination of the two was volatile, and without question, me being white and me saying, yes, officer, no, officer, I was just leaving, officer, yes, cuff me. I mean, he was being arrested for drinking in public. Stand in front of the judge a couple days later, maybe spend a night in jail, maybe a weekend in jail on the long side, but maybe no time in jail at all, maybe just a ticket. You show up in front of the judge, you plead your case. It's really relatively inexpensive, doesn't require a lawyer, and you got a drinking in public on your hands. But this man was drunk, I assume, and he made it messy. Anyways, that was a very long, nothing's long on slow TV. Everything's long on slow TV, so that wasn't so long. But anyways, that was the leverage of my experience this week. I think on Monday, and today is Wednesday. No, it would have been, I think it was Monday. No, it was over the weekend. Maybe it was Saturday. And today is Wednesday, so it was a very recent experience of an arrest where someone made it very messy for himself. But the Zurich arrests were not messy. Hotel staff members even held up bed sheets in an attempt to keep pedestrians from seeing the soccer officials as they were led out a side door. The impact was powerful. Both Mr. Blatter and Mr. Scala spoke Tuesday about the need to reform the executive committee if FIFA hoped to make any meaningful changes to its image. By the way, this is a continuation of what I was reading when I met with Andres, and the subject is, anyways, it's New York Times. Should be able to get back to the beginning of it. Yeah, here we go. So, Sepp Blatter decides to resign FIFA in an about face. Mr. Scala, in his remarks to reporters after Mr. Blatter's speech, said nothing will be left off the table in terms of reforms at FIFA. Changes could include a greater focus on transparency, including publishing the compensation earned by the president and executive committee members, as well as more stringent integrity checks, a proposal that had been previously rejected by FIFA members. That's a problem. Organization is tough. This is a significant work to be done in order to regain the trust of the public, Mr. Scala said. Continue reading the main story. Mr. Blatter voiced similar sentiment, though it's not clear how involved he will be in any changes. FIFA did not immediately announce Mr. Blatter's travel schedule, although he would normally appear at either Saturday's European Champions League final in Berlin or at the Women's World Cup, which begins the same day in Canada. As for potential candidates to replace Mr. Blatter, it appears that Prince Ali bin Al Hussein of Jordan, who lost to Mr. Blatter last Friday's vote, will stand again in the next election. Beyond that, Michael Plantini, head of European soccer governing body, has been seen as a potential successor to Mr. Blatter. Mr. Blatter, in his speech, did not endorse any potential candidates. Rather, he focused on what he hoped would be positive nature of his departure. What matters to me more than anything, he said, is when this is all over, football is the winner. Okay, so here is the second. I'm going to flash this. Slow TV. This is a mark of I'm beginning the second article. And when I cut and paste this article, the text did not capture who the publisher of this is, but the title is Sepp Blatter is leaving. FIFA's sexist policies should go with him. This is an editorial. It's written by a woman named Penny M. Benitez. And maybe I'll come across who's the publisher of this. But it appears that it's probably an icon that didn't get captured in the text. Cut and paste. Copy and paste. So here we go. Penny's editorial. Penny, I can tell just by beginning to read this, Penny is a sports writer, and she's an editorialist, so this is probably going to be fun, colorful. One, she's a woman, but primarily the sports writers have a lot more latitude in how they write than more traditional news, Wall Street news, political news. Sports writers have a little more color. And Penny, being a woman and writing about sexist policies of Blatter, a quote by Blatter said that he has a history of making cringe-worthy remarks. That was again by another sports writer, a female. And here's Penny Benitez. From a dearth of women at the top to pressure on women players to accept poor conditions, the governing body has a gender problem that needs to end. Sepp Blatter didn't resign from FIFA because of sexism, but his departure may end up helping reform the organization. When embattled FIFA president Sepp Blatter resigned on Tuesday, shortly after 14 prominent FIFA officials were indicted on bribery and kickback charges. And days before the Women's World Cup, he said, as yet unnamed reforms will be crucial going forward. But viewers planning to tune into the women's competition, which starts on Saturday in Vancouver, should note another blight on the organization. Gender discrimination extreme enough to violate the law in almost every country where FIFA tournaments are played pervades. This is called, it's live streaming. I'm on the internet and I'm reading. You can smile and say hi. That's a nice, you just did. If you make note of my name, you Google search, you'll be able to find what I'm doing. Thanks for asking. Ciao. Blatter's public conduct has long been unapologetic. Female players tighter shorts time of tax. In other words, it's not women should wear tight shorts. Same writer, it's not the same model. It's random. Male and male to even rise. Alex Morgan at FIFA, the World Player Year event in 2012, where she was the top 3 players. Actions and musings of an out-of-touch league, infamous for his gaffes. Women players are paid a pittance compared to men. U.S. club teams pay women between $6,000 and $30,000 annually, with most players on the lower end of the scale. Men playing on the U.S. club can earn $71 million. Crazy. Professional player, women player making $30,000. That's the top. And a man is earning $7 million. The average salary is, the average for men is $207,000. The highest paid player in the world, Cristiano Ronaldo, earns $19 million base salary, and that's before endorsements, bonuses, prize money. In contrast, the 3 top earning women earn $400,000, $190,000, and $70,000 respectively. Amy Wambach, the all-time highest goal scorer in any player, male or female, was only a soccer player. FIFA also deliberately excludes women from senior positions, including important oversight bodies. Of the 27 members of FIFA Executive Committee, only 3 are women, and none of these women are vice presidents or higher. Rather, they are members or members of special tasks. Members or members for special tasks. Additionally, 2 senior FIFA executives, including the head of the Ethics Committee investigating corruption in 2018 and 2022 World Cup bidding processes, asked former Independent Governance Committee member Alexa Rage, and that's not Alexa, it's Alexandra Rage, and it's W-R-A-G-E, Alexandra Rage, to stop recommending female candidates for governance positions. Rage resigned April 2013, citing blatant sexism throughout the organization, and research abounds that shows correlation between decreased corruption and women in senior leadership positions. Last year, 84 women's soccer players from 13 countries filed a gender discrimination complaint with the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal against FIFA and Canadian Soccer Association, CSA, after FIFA announced that this World Cup would be played on artificial turf instead of natural grass. Turf greatly increases the risk of player injury because of increased friction and decreased shock absorption, including career-ending injuries like ACL tears, concussions, and knee injuries, as well as severe turf-specific injuries like turf toe and burns, including antibacteria-resistant infections. The players also argue that turf degrades the dignity, state of mind, and self-respect of athletes. After several soccer federations, to which FIFA gives hundreds of thousands of dollars annually, threatened to bar women involved in the lawsuit from playing on their national teams, the players dropped their lawsuit. No major men's tournament has ever been played on artificial turf. In fact, natural grass is often installed over existing turf for men's tournaments. Shockingly, FIFA and the CSA refused to use natural grass this weekend, even after lawn care company Scott's offered free installation at all Women World Cup venues. Instead of heeding to players' demands, for grass fields, FIFA instead installed new turf fields for upcoming games. The Women's World Cup could be the first post-bladder event that shows new commitment from FIFA to end discriminatory treatment of women for soccer. For starters, FIFA should put a woman in charge of the organization and in senior management positions, charge its bylaws to ensure that both men and women matches are played on grass, insist that national soccer federations equalize pay scales for men and female players, and address the exploitation of women in World Cup host countries. Until FIFA ends this blatantly discriminatory policies against women players at all levels at the playing field, fans and sponsors should think about what they're actually supporting when they root for their team. And that's the end of Slow TV. The Slow TV is an idea put forth by NRK of Norway, and their idea is still alive today and popular in Norway. I don't know if it's spreading beyond, but it's one of those ideas that has incredible potential. It's counterintuitive, and if the people in Norway didn't think of it, I'm not sure anyone else would have. So I think this is kind of fun. I think this location is especially good. Got some traffic here at Grand Central Terminal. Grand Central Terminal itself is famous, and the shuttle just as a tourist or a red commuter like me with a shuttle at least almost once a day or twice as a tourist. All avoid the shuttle. This has been Tom Doody, middle-aged American, living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Doody in a Google search for my site. Thank you for listening. Have a good day. Good evening. The train's not leaving for 2 minutes. I thought I'd end this with the train leaving. Not going to wait. Have a good day, good evening, or restful night's sleep. Ciao.